I'm Byron Hynes, and in this video presentation, we're going to talk about the different types of cloud offerings that are available in OpenStack and in cloud services in general. Now, there's three main types of services that are offered in a cloud environment. First, we'll begin by talking about software as a service, or SaaS, and we'll talk about platform as a service, and we'll talk about infrastructure as a service. Now, software as a service is probably where most people, and certainly most end users, connect to the cloud, and it's one of the first things that's come out. If you look at a web-based email application, such as Outlook Online, formerly Hotmail, or Gmail, or the web-based email that might come from your own ISP, these are classic examples of software as a service. There are accounting programs that are available online in the cloud. It's generally a single application or a very limited suite of applications that solves a particular purpose. It's also commonly available to a large number of people with identical or very similar configurations. For example, I sign into my web-based email, of which I have at least 3 or 4 different ones. It is not customized to me. When it gets customized to you, it becomes more of a platform as a service, which we'll talk about momentarily. But software as a service is a program that lives in the cloud. You access it through a web browser most of the time, and it does something useful to you. It's a commodity-based thing distributed to a lot of users with very common scenarios, very common needs. Moving up from that, we get into platform as a service. Platform as a service is more broad. There's more things included, and it's more customized. It's more now an organizational thing or a development-based thing. It supports things like rapid application development projects. Ruby on Rails is considered generally to be a platform as a service when implemented in the cloud. It's the kind of thing where you might not have a ready-to-deliver to a user program, but there's still a service offering and software associated with the platform. For example, there are several major vendors that offer database services in the cloud. Now, a database service is not exactly software as a service. It's not a packaged thing that end users would use. But instead of running your database on your own database server, your own Oracle server, your own Microsoft SQL server, instead of doing that, you're buying data services on a platform. Now, those services may still be provided by the same kind of underlying technologies as these companies use for their on-premise solutions. But you don't see that and you don't worry about that. For example, the mail component, webmail alone in Office 365 is probably software as a service. But when you look at Office 365 in a business sense, offered with SharePoint and web-based Word applications and large email systems and integrating it with on-premises situations, or when you look at a database offering where you're not exposing the direct database files, but it's not ready to be used by the user without custom code, without stored procedures, without data access layers. That's a platform. And the platform is usually differentiated from infrastructure by the fact that it has a service component to it. And you're not building everything from scratch. You're able to plug into a platform. And that leads us to the third one, infrastructure as a service. And infrastructure as a service is the lowest level of operation available as kind of a cloud-based service. And at this point, you're looking at, you're provisioning your networks, you're provisioning your own virtual machines, you're provisioning your entire infrastructure. It's not packaged as a service. It's raw and base, and you can build whatever you want on top of it. So if you think of it as a pyramid or a stack, you begin just as you would on an on-premise solution or a data center solution. You begin with an infrastructure, the networking, the servers, which in this case are virtual. Then on top of that, you build platforms. So there's the database server, there's the mail server. And then on top of that, you build services or software, which is the difference between, say, building out a mail server infrastructure and offering an email service. So software as a service is the highest level in the pyramid. Platform as a service supports that, and infrastructure as a service supports both of those. OpenStack provides infrastructure as a service solutions. Now, this is delivered with a collection of various components and nodes that all come together to provide this. There's core processes, there's storage, and there's shared services. There's an application programming interface that can be used to integrate with this. Most users will access this through the built-in website through the dashboard, but you can also get it programmatically through the API. You can see in the diagram here some of these components. Throughout this series of presentations, we'll be looking at all of these as time goes on.